Today we're going to be interviewing a Dogecoin kid, Lisa from Up Worldwide. And today we have the beautiful Miss from Crypto here tonight with us. Today we have Ken Bozak.
Foundation, Rarible, OpenSea, and Charged Particle.
Speaking from a Gen Z's perspective.
So why do these people buy this
collection? I work with an artist out of...
Wait till you see my other outfits. Welcome everyone to Yummy NFTs. I'm your host, City Girl. We want to thank you for taking the time out of your Tuesday night to come out here and join us. As you know, we've been kind of featuring a lot of different things on the shows lately. Instead of just focusing only on NFT artists, we've been trying to make it a little bit educational as well and incorporate a few different type of guests on our show. Some people that have shown about utilization with NFTs and some of the practicality in everyday life. Tonight, we are joined by Evolvn, who is actually one of the oldest AltSpace representatives, let's call you. He's been on here for a very long time, has an incredible reputation in here for so many different things. He's an entrepreneur, he's a financial mentor, he's an NFT curator, and he's a fan favorite of everybody. So welcome and thank you for coming on.
Thank you, City Girl. Thank you for having me, and appreciate the invitation. I haven't spent a lot of time in AltSpace in the last few months, but it's always good to come through. Yeah, I'm a AltSpace OG. So,
we love it. And
well
when did you actually start in AltSpace? So when did you get involved in VR?
Well, when I first got involved in AltSpace, it was probably when AltSpace first launched the app. It was somewhere around 2016. At the time, I had a Rift and a Go, and my Go would only last in AltSpace about maybe an hour before it would start to heat up, and I would actually tie a ice pack to my headset with a rubber band. And, yeah, so I've been in here for a minute. Some of the OGs know what I'm talking about.
Times have changed.
See a couple of years. Yeah,
There's actually
quite different now.
Picture up on the wall of Evolvn through the years. You can see some of his different avatars between this platform and others. So you've actually told us a little bit about some NFT information, but you've actually hosted a ton of different events here in AltSpace, and some of them are NFT related and other topics as well, financial information. So tell us a little bit about your live mint you did at the Mall of the Metaverse and just drops in AltSpace that like people have shared. Tell us a little bit about your interest in that.
Well, I would come in here and play the game a lot of times, and just like in real life, I geek out on a lot of things having to do with technology. But I would talk about the market all the time because I've been playing around in the market ever since I was a kid. I literally started playing video games with a PC game that was about trading in the market. And so everywhere I go, I'm always talking about the market. And there wasn't a lot of people talking about those types of things. So I was happy when I saw Jerome. I think we connected. I always refer to him as my VR brother from another mother. And he was one of the first people besides myself that I saw talking about the blockchain. So it was kind of like natural. I would connect with Jerome, and Boxman would be doing Crypto Mondays. So we would have these conversations. I was always happy to support anybody that wanted to kind of geek out and talk about it. And it's amazing to see in the last year how those first conversations that we were having, and we would have shows like this. I think Jerome came to one of our first shows where we would literally teaching people like what is an NFT and what is the minting and what does that mean and what is mining and how does it factor into the blockchain. And so we had to rewind and go all the way back and really start to give people the basics. And then we had a couple of artists like Nature who had some art. So she's a acrylic art painter. I think most people in here probably know that by now. And we were going around to our properties in AltSpace, and we were decorating the worlds with all these different artists. And we started to do some minting. So people wanted to know, like, how do we do all this? And if I'm an artist and I'd like to know how to do it, and we started talking about it's not just paintings and it's not just crypto punks and bored apes. Like there are legitimate artists and sculpture artists that are using NFTs, to distribute their art and build community. So then we started to have more events, live events where we were doing live drops and letting artists have used this platform to come in and build a community. So it's one of the first events that we had like that when the opening of the Mall of the Metaverse. We did a live drop that same day. I think it's even on Blockchain Universe YouTube channel. I don't know if it's still there, but it was a pretty powerful event. Yeah, and I think that a lot of people had an opportunity to see, what it was like that day.
Amazing. Such a cool thing for you to share with everybody, because I think we come in here and we talk about NFTs, but it's very rare for people to actually get to see something live. So that's really cool that you were able to share that with them. So now you personally, you've created some NFTs. So I know that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the one that you've been doing currently with Dallas Austin?
Well, I'll talk a little bit more about my background prior to NFTs. What I have done recently in NFTs is because people know that I do music, and I have a few songs there. I refer to my music as not pop music, but unpop music. Because pop music is popular. And my socially conscious music is really not that popular, but I put it out there and it's on every platform, where music is today. But I have a music distributor, a typical, conventional music distributor. But when I connected with Dallas Austin, I don't know if you guys know, Dallas Austin is a Grammy Award winning producer, produced named like TLC and Boys to Men, and he's worked with Madonna and Gwen Stefani. So for whoever doesn't know Dallas Austin, he created a label, really an opportunity to give local artists in Atlanta an opportunity to distribute their music using NFTs, and he created a label to do that. And we connected, and he's working on an autobiography for himself. And so one of the NFTs that you see over here is one of the NFTs that I invested in, and another that was gifted to me directly by him when I signed with his distribution label. So pretty excited about that. Other than that, I've really just been spending a lot of time trying to educate people about why NFTs are important. Now, if you came here and you thought that I was going to talk about what's the best NFT to invest in today, you're probably not. That's not what I'm here for. But I kind of wanted to ask
secrets.
I kind of wanted to ask people before you get too far into the weeds, like, what did you come from? If you maybe want to pick on a couple of people in the audience and talk about what they wanted to come for today, what they expected to get when they saw this event.
Blue, could you turn on the raise hand feature for a moment? If anybody would like to ask Evolvn about a specific topic, please, raise your hand and we'll you.
I think Be Smoked raised his hand.
Yeah. Be Smoked, go ahead. You have the microphone.
Yes, how you doing? The name, my voice is deep. I'm a female, so let you know that right front. So I'll keep saying he. But I did not know. I was trying to figure out what is an NFT. I keep hearing it. I'm very new. I'm trying to learn. I keep hearing about it. We're talking about artists, music. Can you explain exactly what that is and how people are using it? Like you say, you're doing it, but I don't understand how you're doing it, what it is. Thank you.
Perfect. You're in a good place. Now, I may not answer your question right now. I just kind of want to get a feel for it, but I'll keep that in mind as we go through and make sure that I at least touch on that. Is there anybody else?
We love you.
Lots of love from the back of the room over there.
Hey.
Yeah.
I love
Sasha,
you guys.
Go ahead. You have the microphone. Hey,
Sasha.
Evolvn. I
Hey.
came because I wanted to really, I love you to death, but I only get to see basically like, whenever we're hanging out, and I knew that you had a background in marketing and stuff like not marketing, but in the market. Like I love doing, option trading and stuff like that. Like, so I have a love for that, but I've always wanted to just get a better understanding of your creative background because seeing your songs and knowing that you had a music background and stuff like that. So I came here to learn a little bit more about you as a whole. And I just
Okay.
assumed you would tap into NFTs.
Oh, that's
Perfect.
so sweet.
Perfect. And I thank you for coming. I always love to catch up with you, Sasha. Sasha's my sister in here too. I have a lot of sisters in AltSpace. Hey, Jerry. I see Jerry waving his hand.
Hey, what's up, man? Am I next?
Jerry, hold on a sec. You have to hit the raise hand. Hit the raise hand so I can put you on amplify, please.
Stop jumping in front of folks, man. Oh, that's Jerry.
Wow, what happened? Somebody had their
Just
hand
to
up?
say, Sasha, like I didn't really want to make this about me, but I am going to definitely speak a little bit more about why I'm here, even on the stage, talking about this, and why I think this is a really powerful moment. I really appreciate City Girl Jerome inviting me to come and talk about this space, but I'm definitely going to talk a little bit about why it's important to me.
Like not like where your mama and daddy come from, but like this.
Yeah.
No. So I don't have the raise hand feature.
Jerry, but I hear you. Okay, Jerry.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think
so
Jerry
I
can
think,
raise his hand for some reason.
Who is Jerry?
I'll flick it back on.
I'm sorry. Who said that? Who said that?
It should be right
Because
the
you know
right
what?
side, Jerry.
See it
We
down
know
on your
Jerry can
right-hand
amplify
side?
himself.
Yeah.
We all know Jerry. Jerry comes in and
So
amplifies.
there's no problem. I will amplify myself. I will amplify
Yes,
myself.
sir.
So what I came here today is to hear more about your career. Thank you.
Okay.
To hear more about your career, rather in trading NFTs and how you evolved, pretty much where you got your name from and where you are now. So yeah, so that's actually what I kind of came here for and look forward to hearing from you.
Okay.
I have more questions to ask later. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty cool. That's a pretty good jump off. Evolving is not just a name. It's not just a name on my album. My father gave me a really powerful name, put on my birth certificate that I felt I had to my whole life kind of live up to. But without talking too much about myself, I just kind of tell you I've always been a gamer. Um, and I've always looked at life as a game. And some of us, who maybe like love the Matrix, they think that we are a game. We are, avatars in a game, playing a game. So that's kind of like how my approach to life always has been. I started out kind of in finance, playing video game on my PC at a time when I was one of the few people, you know, that had a PC around my age. I actually scored really high on a computer class that I took at a year when my class was my school was actually changing and getting computers, and so my computer teacher gave me a computer to take home, and I spent. And I went to Saturday classes at local universities to learn about coding and video games, and I spent a lot of my time when there wasn't games to play, creating games that related to the things that I liked. There was a PC game that I remember vaguely. I really loved. It was a PC DOS game called Airbucks, and a lot of I also geek out on airplanes, like to fly my own planes. I've been making model rockets and airplanes since I was a kid. So this PC game, Airbucks, was a game that I could actually learn about putting together airplanes and buying, kind of like investing in the rights to land and learning about the business of airplanes, because prior to that, the science of airplanes was really the thing I was really into as a kid. So I started to learn about airplanes more of the business and more from the investment side by playing this game. And that led to me really loving business of logistics and aeronautics engineering and how it factored into business. So fast forward to when there weren't any like video games like we can come in and play today. In those days, I wanted to develop things that when you could get an AOL disc in like the mid 90s, but there was no information about investments anywhere out there. So I created, a lot of people don't know this, but there I created a homepage, which was Way to Invest, with one of my partners, that when there was no Investopedia, when there was no way to get information on what is a stock or what is an option or what is a mutual fund, my friend and I, we sat down and we literally went through books and we applied to the National Association of Investors Corp, which didn't even have a website at the time. And they were the ones that provided us with tons of information we could put on our homepage to kind of teach people about what is a stock. And we partnered with organizations and people that were also developing websites at the time. Motley Fool. There was no Motley Fool before this time either. So I actually went, at the time, I went to a brokerage firm and I started working. I first got my license, got a Series 7 and a 63 and a 65 and a 24. To answer your question, Sasha, I was working doing a lot of transactional business at an investment bank. And that's kind of how I cut my teeth, in the industry. When I did that, the compliance director of my firm, they made me take my website down and my homepage on AOL because they weren't sure at the time whether it was even compliant. Because in those days there was no Investopedia, there was no E-Trade, there was no Charles Schwab. They actually bought the technology from us that we were using at the time to kind of teach people about investments. And we wanted to partner with organizations like the National Association of Investors Corp because they were teaching for everybody from old ladies, kids, and in schools and low income houses how to invest, through investment groups. So we thought it was a very powerful way to kind of bring people in that were, kind of interested in the technology at the time, which very much reminds me of the metaverse today. When the people were just becoming familiar with the internet, there were very similar hesitancy about where to find good information and if the information was reliable. So, because I didn't see it, I wanted to make sure that I was a part of developing it, making sure that people had best information and that they could rely on.
Good job.
That you had an opportunity and you capitalized on something that was your dream, following it through, but also helping others learn more about it. It's an incredible venture that you started. And you still have Way to Invest today, correct? This is still
Yes. Well, Way to Invest is kind of it's grown of over 4,000 members, and I've personally been a part of over 40 investment groups, signing up, putting together people who want to learn about investing, and it's more of an educational thing. Like same thing. If you want to learn stocks to invest in, or whether the Russell 2000 is something that you should look at right now. Like you can go to BlackRock for that. Like today, I tell people, like you want to find out about NFTs, not to come to me for that. You can go on YouTube, and there's hundreds of thousands of posts every day about NFTs. But if you want to understand why this is an important piece of history right now, that's what we set up groups that come together and talk about every asset class that it's out there, and put these groups together, people that want to learn about the power of collective finance and how they can utilize the various mechanisms throughout, because I can sit here and tell you, like, I really geek out on history. If you go back over the course of history and you look at empires that have risen and fallen, and you sync it up with the technology of the time around human exchange, you can find some real common ground, and you can really get a sense for like what's going to happen. If we're looking at blockchain and we're looking at NFTs today, that's kind of the reason, like, I look at history and I think, okay, this is another cycle that's repeating. And just like we're talking about technology of the internet, today we're talking about blockchain and NFTs. These are repeating cycles. And so the technology that we're using And NFTs kind of exist on that technology, the same way that if you go back, thousands of years, 5,000 years ago, people were trading tally sticks and seashells. And seashells were big mode of exchange, during human history during a completely different empire. So in the rise and fall of like the Byzantine Empire led to the British Empire. Around that time, seashells that were people were trading, places like Africa, and Arab traders were using seashells, and they were, putting it on their garments and on their canoes, and these were really popular forms of human exchange. So there were places in the world where it got to a point where they didn't want to accept, certain governments didn't want to accept shells, or they didn't want to accept tally sticks. And when they burned all the tally sticks in like the early 1800s, a completely different mode of exchange, or the technology people used, the mechanism that people used to exchange with each other, was completely different. And so there was always, with these changes in empires, there was always a technology and a mechanism of exchange that was on the rise, and others that were, that was on the decline. So you fast forward like the 1950s, when first credit cards came out. There, people at that time weren't sure whether this is something that they should trust. But if you fast forward to like 30 years from when the first Diners Club credit card came out, there were babies of parents that were born in the 70s and 80s. Parents were still not sure whether they should use a credit card in like, the 70s and the 80s. So it's the same thing. I wouldn't be surprised if like 20 years from now, the babies of today are still trying to convince parents, should we use NFTs? But that's what I'm here to talk about today, is like, that's what NFTs are. You don't see NFTs as a part of a changing world, a significant part of a changing world, then you're missing really what it's all about. We can sit here and talk about what stocks were good, what investments were good, whether it were real estate in Brooklyn or real estate in Orange County or real estate in Key West was better, or we could talk about real estate in Dubai, or we could talk about real estate, asset class, the mode of exchange. And the same thing with NFTs. It really doesn't matter what NFT. What matters is that this is a part of a changing world today. That that people that are born in this time are not even going to be thinking about what happened 100 years ago, 50 years ago. That's what this is.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, so you as part of Way to Invest, like, when we talked previously, and I kind of did a little digging in on, on your website and stuff, and I saw, one of the things that you talk about is how Way to Invest teaches people financial freedom, but it's not by just telling people this is what to do. You're not just
Right.
giving people a full set of instructions. This is people getting together, talking with like minds about, what they see, what they've experienced, what works and what doesn't work, and why, and you're kind of giving them guidance through actual experience. And so
Absolutely.
now we talked about, NFTs, being, they're going to be something that is utilized more frequently in the near future, as it is right now today, more than it was, not even a year ago. What do you see as some of the investment opportunities with NFTs, as opposed to just, not to quickly make a turnaround, you don't want not a return on investment today by tomorrow, but what do you see as, the long-term investment with them?
Well, again, I see it from a much larger perspective, as the the technology of our time that represents what we, as during these times in the human condition, we have reasons to exchange things with each other, and it's not just money. There are applications out there for NFTs, for artificial organs, and for different types of, there's projects out there for energy projects, and there's ways that people are using NFTs very much like Kickstarter, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. So there's ways to fund projects and to, and whatever, it really facilitates any type of exchange between individuals. And the use of smart contracts on the blockchain is going to be powerful for a long time. So, I could sit here and explain all the basics and answer all those questions. But that's one of the reasons why I say all the time, like, get together as a group, people that are just as curious. And that's why I think this is a really powerful moment. I was saying to City Girl, I've invited to come in and talk about this stuff on talk shows. But one of the reasons why I appreciate, Jerome's, and your invitation is because we've spent a lot of time talking about this stuff and talking about the power of it. And you even and I sat down and we talked for a couple of hours. There's a lot of people that I've talked to about NFTs and helped them set up a wallet and get their first NFT. And I'm very excited about that. But what's most important is that people come together and share information. That's what I love about, Crypto Mondays. Jerome spends a lot of time getting people to understand like what's out there and what they can look at and why these things are relevant at the time. And even if it only lasts for a week or two, like we have really cool conversations about that. And Jerry does the same thing, on his Twitter spaces.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I'm looking at this. One of my brothers, Rockadala, is in the building. Good to see you, Rock. We had
Hey,
a
Rock.
market chat event that we were doing on Sunday nights earlier in the year. One of the objectives of that event, Cute Tech, we got together on a Sunday evening because the market opens overseas and in currency market, and we would talk about what's going to happen, as or what could possibly happen, what conversations people are going to have, what's relevant, what's on the daily FX calendar, for the week ahead. And I just think that this is a powerful platform for people who are technologically savvy. Obviously, you got to be savvy to some degree to even have a headset. So to come in, use this opportunity to talk and learn about what they can do with the power of their money. But it's not just their money, it's their participation in all different aspects of the human condition. And so that's what I feel from like my 100,000-foot view on global commerce. We can all get together and kind of talk about what's relevant, important in the world. Then I think that gives you a much broader and longer term outlook on whatever comes about. If it's NFTs and NFTs at some point and blockchain could be replaced by another emerging technology, it's going to be important for us to have support groups and the communities to share this information with.
Let me ask you a question then. So, on the back wall here, we have ways that people can get in touch with you to get more information and to actually discuss with you, things about whether it's investments or NFTs or anything. But you are up here describing that the best way to learn about this stuff is together in groups. Do you currently have groups that are active right now that people can join in to learn more information? Are these groups that are available to the general public, or do they need to be, is it something where you have to sign up to be part of, or how does that work?
Well, that's a great question. Way to invest. The groups really, there are all different kinds of people that are philanthropists that do not necessarily want to be, they're not public. The information that goes on in their groups is, that's not always something that they want to share. And so one of the, I think the most valuable and most powerful things about W2I is the anonymity. Like there are literally members that out there, philanthropists that would donate to like the Giving Pledge for Warren Buffett, and they want people to know who they are and to know that they're doing that. But then some of those same people and others who really want to be a part of supporting humanitarian projects and entrepreneurs that want to maintain a degree of anonymity. Those are the kinds of people that come to W2I, but as well, people like yourself are welcome to submit, I don't won't say an application, but if you want to, when you want to start a group or assemble a group and have us, come in and support you in getting started and establishing a group, that's something that we do. But it's not like where you can just join a group that's already established.
Okay.
We love to help people come together, create a group, and we've done that with everything from people that want to support an individual project, that own basketball teams, professional sports teams, race teams around the world. So, um, yeah, I'm not a person. I'll say at this stage of my career, if I even have one anymore, but I'm not going to manage your money. I'm not going to tell you what's the best thing to invest in. But what I will do, and it's probably why, if I cared to be like the wealthiest person in the world, maybe I would sell you something. But what I care more about is teaching you how to fish so that you're able to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
If you're really
Absolutely.
serious about
Great
doing that,
concept.
then there are ways to get in contact with me. And I think it's awesome. I have an opportunity to engage people directly through this medium and others. That's why I haven't been here a lot. We've spent a lot of time, with my partners out about really connecting with artists and people that have humanitarian projects and making sure that they have support for their ideas, and make sure that those ideas get brought forward.
It's a great concept. Now, here in AltSpace, are you? I know you've taken a little break, but you kind of been back a little bit on and off. Do you think that you will get back into maybe having a group here in AltSpace, just like a conversational group, maybe once a week that meets together? Obviously you have some friends here in AltSpace that you talk to casually, but do you think you might ever do something a little more organized where people can come and learn from you?
Well, absolutely. I'm always open to that. I have to really gauge because you've seen I've done tons of events here in AltSpace, and most of the people I look around, I've probably been to at least a couple of them. But I have to kind of gauge the time that I spend in here talking about this stuff, and actually, the time that I spend out there making it happen, because I'm really passionate about creating opportunities for people, making the world a better place than it was when I found it. Anybody that has talked to me for 5 minutes, you could probably know that about me already. So that's when I come in here, it's like I'm having a lot of fun, and sometimes it's decompressing from whatever is out there, and I come in here to have fun. But stuff is fun for me. So sure, anybody that wants to be a part of that, is welcome to come in. Like you see in the W2I Academy of Options, the world that we have. We've set up screens where people can look at, and see how the markets are trading. We've put up live screens. We put up live, Bloomberg or CNBC, and we have in real time discussions, right? Tech about, option chains and currency and everything. So yeah, you're more than welcome. But if you want to put together a group, this is something that I'm really passionate about, and that's something that you want to do to learn, I'm here for it, for sure.
Let's stepping away from like the investment end of it for a minute. Let's just get your opinion on a couple of things. Um, where do you think like one of the biggest opportunities for NFTs is going forward that isn't something that people are already like, artwork and music and things like that? Where do you see is an avenue that people are not necessarily anticipating, but could have some substantial growth?
Um, it's a loaded question, because I think that we're at a point where corporations are really taking over and have always taken over governments. And I don't think this is a secret we're talking about here. They have the power to utilize the governments around the world to serve their initiatives. And to the degree that we support corporations, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. That's something. If you love Nike, you love what Nike's doing around the world. If you love, a healthcare company, or you love, an energy company, and you invest in it, you're empowering that entity to be powerful around the world in various ways. And a lot of these corporations are taking control over governments and the laws that they create. I think that NFTs is a very powerful part of our time, again, where the newer generations that are really embracing it, and whoever else that they can get to support it has the power to for whoever masters the technology of today, they will have the power to, I don't want to say manipulate, but control governance and laws around the world for the future. So I think that's another reason why I think it's really powerful for everybody that can learn about what NFTs can do to master it and understand it, because these are the people that are going to have the opportunity to write laws and to manage the future, so I think that's probably the most powerful application that I see coming.
Right. Was there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience? I know we're going to check out a live link in a couple of seconds here, but before then, is there anything else you'd like to share with them, either about NFT in general, or about way to invest, or
Well,
about
I
yourself?
will just say that yeah, we have set up a surprise drop with an NFT. It's not going to be up for sale, but it's just I thought it was a great opportunity, since we were going to be here today, to seize this moment and give everybody here an opportunity to see how that actually plays out. We've done live drops, in AltSpace before, but it's been a while. So I've actually got one of Mommy Nature's art pieces, her acrylic art, and I used one of my music tracks in it. And we're putting it out there today, and we want whoever is here to be the first to see it. Again, it's not auction sale. It wasn't really the power of when we get people together in an environment like this. If we can garner interest in what it is that we're doing, this is what's going to be the future for NFT investors and collectors going forward, to have the opportunity to gather people together and then expose them to whatever it is. If it's your NFT represents your project, whether it's music or art, or if it's some humanitarian project, to have the opportunity. That's what we want to seize a moment like this. And so I kind of wanted to use that as an example. So I'm going to the drop occurs at 9:22. We figured 22, the year 22, and in the meantime, and we'll put the link up and where people can see it. But if anybody has any questions, I think we got a few minutes. I did want to make sure that a couple of the questions that were asked, did I answer them? And if you have any more, we have a few minutes.
It looks like we do have a couple questions.
Yeah. Cool Vibes, you have the microphone.
Cool vibes.
Hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Right.
See, and I hear you.
I'm a real estate agent, and I've been a real estate agent for several years.
Won't hold that.
But I wanted to know. Yeah, right. You know how that could go. But I'm a very smart individual, and I watch the market also as licensing investments and things of that nature. So I just want to know, like, the NFT market, how do you see that impacting the real estate industry? Like, I already have my plans and my goals for incorporating NFTs with real estate, but I want to see your vision on, or at least your thought process on how to incorporate real estate with NFTs.
Well, probably I could probably sit here and brainstorm and think of 50 or more off the top of my head. But I think initially, you might, as an agent, know one of the bottlenecks to progress in the market, sometimes is legal questions and attorneys and dealing with documents and paperwork. I think the application of smart contracts through blockchain and NFTs in particular is very powerful, and will probably slow down, or I mean speed up some of those processes and give a little bit more agency, you know, pun intended, for agents that are looking to do things in all different asset classes, not just real estate. That may not sound good to lawyers, attorneys today, but I think some of them that actually embrace the technology will probably still have a job that they can do, at least the short term.
Appreciate that.
Sure. Thank you for the question. Jerry.
All right. I
Okay.
think that was a great
Hold on one
question, by the
second,
way,
Jerry.
in the
Let me
back.
find you on the.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, there you go.
All right. Perfect. Yeah, I was going to say, I think that was a great question in the back. Because as he was saying about NFTs, people kind of try to put NFTs in a box, right? It's only deals with pictures, photos, or anything art related when it could be connected to anything like a barcode, like how every piece of clothing in a store is connected to a tag, which is logged into the computer and verifies that, hey, this shirt belongs to this store and this is what it costs. So if you tag that to anything and everything in the world, you see where it's actually profitable because it connects to the blockchain, right? But I was thinking for NFTs, I think NFTs also are going to be huge, like being used like with your license, at the DMV, your titles to your car, the titles to your home, titles, pretty soon you might get, there's an echo back there. Pretty soon you might get the police officer say, hey, listen, um, can I see your NFT, your license, your registration, everything will be connected to it all in one. Bring it up on your phone, whatever. Oh, and it saves on paper, materials, everything.
To further, respond to Cool Vibes' question, I can easily see, and I've already begun to see deeds being converted to NFT. That's really exciting in the authentication opportunities and verification of ownership. The trail to, I remember purchasing a piece of property probably about 10 years ago. And I just happened to be driving down the street and the property was for sale by owner. And I thought that was rare. A lot of times in that particular area, you always had to get an agent to make that transaction. Anyway, one of the the opportunity that I had to just that property from the owner, he had a lot of records that he had held. He was a military guy, and he had records of all of the maintenance that had been done on the property since he owned it and things like that. And I thought that was really cool and powerful, and that's something that I was used to seeing, with a lot of owners. I think that type of information being authenticated the blockchain and probably utilizing NFTs will be an application that will be really powerful for real estate as well. And you can, like, again, you can apply that to all different kinds of asset classes. The trustless factor of using smart contracts and NFTs in a world where people are finding it more and more increasingly difficult to trust somebody, no matter what it is that they do. Yeah.
Security.
If you don't mind me just saying one last thing too, I'll make it real short. People, this time that we live in, this time that we live in is a very unique time, whether it's NFTs, cryptos, or whatever. For people to make money, it's never been so easy for people to get involved as it is right now. Make life-changing money, generational, creating businesses, dealing with NFTs or crypto related anything. Getting into the market just by your handheld phone within 5 or 10 minutes, you could be playing the game if you know what you're doing. But being connected to Evolvn.
Again, Jerry, I think we want to be careful to make sure that we don't diminish the power of NFTs and the blockchain to just making money. And I agree with
absolutely.
You.
Right,
You
absolutely.
and I know we talk about this a lot. And there's
absolutely
we've talked and built on a lot of opportunities to make money. But it's so much bigger than that. It's so
bigger
much more
than that,
powerful
absolutely. And that's where I was going. It's so much bigger than that to be connected and actually be a force in the world to actually be able to help people. But you have to kind of find your way and figure out what you can do, your talent, and implement that. Because look, everybody want to make money, but that's not the biggest thing in life that's gonna change your life and other people's lives around you. It's just a vessel. It's just a tool that that's used. So, but yeah, I just wanted to add that in there. It's a great opportunity to get involved in this world.
Do you want to put the link up so that we can see that on the screen?
Yep. Jerome, I just sent that to you in a message.
Volatile is the easy way to put it.
And I'm going to give a second, make sure that the drop is ready.
Just take this down for a second.
Sasha, did I answer your question, sister?
Yes, you did. You did.
All right.
You did a good job.
Our next question is from B Smoke.
Be smoke. How did I do with your question? Hey.
I was gonna say that yeah, you answered my question as well, but I don't know if you had anybody in your group that's covering the fact about rating the event. You had the 42 people covering out the event to monitor the rated.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I
Thank
think
you. Yes, if you could please take a moment to rate our event, we'd appreciate that. We appreciate fives to keep the event alive.
I rated you a 10.
Oh, and I think Jerome's putting the board up right now so that we can watch the screen. Should end up
hey,
behind the
city
scenes.
girl,
Sorry.
put that back on. Took her hat off back here.
My hat went away?
No, just that's just between you and I. I won't tell him. Just in time, just in the nick of time. Oof, you didn't want to see what was going on back here.
What happens behind the screen stays behind the screen.
You know?
I just wanted to ask a question or make a comment. Like, why do you feel that it's so important, the community aspect of outside of, making money, but the community aspect, the community aspect of investing and learning ways to invest? Why do you feel it's positive in groups as opposed to people doing it individually?
Well, I think it's kind of human nature. We talk about this all the time. Is what people.
I know it's for everybody else.
Yeah, I was just speaking about a little while ago, the trust factor. Sometimes it's hard. It's difficult for people to trust information that they get from another source. I think when people come together and they share information with people that they already have a relationship with, that they feel that they can trust, that they can rely on that information, even if it's not the best information, it's information that they're more confident in. And I think that when people come together and they have a common purpose and a common goal, there's a lot of power in that. So for those and a lot of reasons, I think it's really powerful. And I know we've all seen how crowdfunding has emerged to help a lot of people get projects off the ground and started. And you can go back, maybe nearly 100 years when people did start to put funds together, collective, behind changes and coming, going from the commodity based currency to currency that was no longer based on gold and silver, and they really had to put their faith in governments. A lot of people came together after the Depression, and so we got to make sure that we're doing is powerful and that we're not going to lose our shirt. So I think when people started to realize the power of collective financing, it has emerged into a lot of these mechanisms that we see today. And I think the more that we can share information on how to utilize them, the better and more educated we can be. The more we can even narrow sometimes the wealth gaps that are out there. Difference between the haves and the have-nots a lot of times is information that they have available to them, the information that they share.
And I agree with that. And I think that holds true to pretty much everything in life. I mean, not even just for investments, but if you think about it, that's why they have support groups. I mean, if you're going through an illness and you don't know how to handle it or what to expect, people get together with a support group so that they can speak to people who've already been down this road or people who are going through it. Same thing with investing, people who have already done this, you can learn from. People who are going through it with you at the same time, they can tell you, this is what I found failed, this is what I found work. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to follow the exact same path, but you get information from people real time who have actually, are doing a similar thing as you. And it makes it a lot easier for you to try and, make your decisions instead of reading something on a screen or instead of just being told this is what to do. It makes a lot easier when you actually have the commonality with somebody else.
Sure. And I've had a lot of people in recent months come up to me and say, Evolve, and what should I do? And the market is down, and or I'm not able to do certain things. And Jerry and I had a conversation about this the other day, and I'm like, if you haven't been taught how to maintain liquidity and to make money in a down market, then you're really in trouble. So, I've done a lot of things in my life that I love and that I enjoy, and I've made a lot of money doing a lot of things, but I didn't make a lot of money as a musician. I didn't make a lot of money, flying airplanes. I didn't make a lot of money doing a lot of the things that I love, but what I do love that I have done pretty well at is managing money. So I think that it's a really powerful thing when you can manage your own wealth and you don't have to, rely on somebody else. When I first started in investment banking, it became painfully obvious to me when I was managing money for, like a chairman on the board of directors of an oil and gas company, or the president of a technology company, or a medical surgeon, that these people were really smart and really savvy in what they do, but they always had somebody else taking, that they put their money in their hands that they had to rely on. And so when I would call on these people, it became obvious to me that my job was to know more than what they know if I was going to manage their money. And so I think it's really powerful when you can, maintain that agency and autonomy, and you can do it within the confines of people that you have a community with already.
Absolutely.
Well, all right. Are we ready to do the drop, Jerome?
Ready.
I see the screen, but I don't see anything
Screen,
on it.
but there's nothing on it.
You have
Need to broadcast, maybe?
Jerome.
Broadcast?
Good net.
101.
We know how to. We all, if we ever, any
There
of
we
us,
go.
and I think a lot of people around have had these events.
Can it play?
No, okay, here it is. Evolution vibrations on the open sea,
I'm gonna go back and get this shit.
and it's a part of the W2I art collection. And
Oh my God.
we just minted this last night. It's only going to be for a month.
He gotta go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate.
Is it okay to clap?
This is great.
Can you hear the
Lady
sound?
Man has left the building.
Can you hear the sound?
Yeah, boo.
And so, Mommy Nature, this is, I think, is a good time to. Mommy Nature is going to be on. I think.
She's
I
going to be
guess
on
I'll-
in 2 weeks. So we are
Okay.
excited to have her come on and show us some of her artwork and her NFTs that she's created. This is something for you to put in your calendars. So not next week, but the following Tuesday, Mommy Nature will be on.
We will be talking more, I guess, about the W2I art collection. Like I said, there's a couple of pieces over here that are in the W2I art collection that are original pieces of Dallas Austin. You can go on this same W2I art collection and listen to some of the music and look at some of the art that we've collected. It's pretty exciting to me, and one of many collectible collections that I'm having thanks to got people like Jerome, like I've learned about so many other opportunities out there, and even Jerry. We share information on other opportunities out there in NFTs and the blockchain, and it's pretty exciting. But we wanted to do the same thing, just kind of give you. For anybody that's interested in NFTs, it's really not about, these are not for sale. So, there's not a ton of them for sale. Like you can't get like 10,000 of them. This is really just something that we wanted to do for this event today, just to kind of show you, like, bring people together, and you can share information, and we can show you where to go. And if you want to, join in with us in the conversation that we have at W2I in the Academy in here, then we'll be happy to kind of lead you in that direction on how you can do that for yourself.
Appreciate that very much. This is a great thing to be able to show the people. And also I do know that you use other platforms besides just OpenSea. So I mean, there's a lot of other platforms out there. So we are going to learn a little bit more when Mommy Nature comes on about artwork and minting the NFTs and the actual process on that end of it. Look forward definitely to seeing some of your beautiful art. I've seen some of it around. It's absolutely gorgeous. If you're not following her Instagram, you should be. So make sure you get on that.
Well, thank you. Thanks a lot.
And so at the end of the hour here, and I just want to make sure we have a chance if anybody else has any questions to ask. Also want to remind you to go ahead and drop us a DM on our Instagram, and we will send you the POAP from tonight. It's limited to the first 10 people, so make sure that I know we have a great crowd here tonight. So make sure you get your DM to us quickly. I'll get those sent off first thing tomorrow morning. And if you have any other questions that you would like to connect with Evolvn, you can either talk to him outside of tonight at this event, or you can look at the back wall there and get the information on how to connect with him on Instagram or on Twitter, or send him a direct message.
Yeah, in addition to the token, the free NFT, there's a special token if you want to follow W2I Art on Instagram or follow me on Twitter and send a direct message, comment on one of the art pieces. We got a special token available for a handful more of you.
Can you repeat again? How do you win the NFT?
How do you?
How do you win the NFT for the airdrop?
Oh, you don't really win, but there are instructions on the back. Receive a special token for your engagement with us on social media. We got a special token available for you, and you can only get it if you came to this event.
So you want to take a picture of that back wall there, so that you can go follow him on either Instagram or on Twitter, and then send a direct message so that you can get POAP from this event.
If you don't send that direct message and say that you were here, then you won't be able to win it.
I got you.
And if you also take a picture of this over here and you send us a DM on Blockchain Universe Instagram, you can get an additional POAP.
Okay, awesome.
So Boxman's gonna get 2.
Only limited available.
Boxman's gonna get 2.
Boxman's gonna get him.
Boxman.
Yes, sir. Boxman is the POAP king.
He is.
And if you don't know what a POAP is, and we'll probably have another event with Boxman. We had one with Boxman, I think, back in January or February, and he was really good at kind of breaking it down to us. We had, I think, one of the first events, and we gave out POAP last year. We've given them out to a bunch of people in AltSpace and other platforms. So Boxman is one of the people that I know of that has a bigger collection than I do.
And actually, the reason why we give out POAPs at this event is because of Boxman, because he brought it to us as an opportunity. And the very first one that we gave out was at Tandy's event. She's here in our audience, and she was the first POAP we ever did.
Tandy. I didn't see Tandy. Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
We are at the end of the hour now, and we have no more questions. So we're going to wrap up. And if we get everybody up here on the stage, we will do a group shot with Evolvn. We usually do at the end of our events. And just a reminder, if you'd like to see this event again, or you've missed any of our previous events, you can see them on our Blockchain Universe YouTube channel, where they're each displayed.
Can you play the Jerome? Can you, or Evolvn or someone? There's music that's embedded in this NFT up here, and I just wanted you guys to hear a sample of Evolvn's music. He makes original beats and songs and stuff, and it's really my favorite song. So let's rock out, you guys.
Get up here, get to life. Can we see you back there? Lala, we see you back there. Sherwin, Bro, your ass on the stage. Come on.
You know,